Hello and welcome back once again to this YouTube channel, as ever throwing the rope and grapple iron of radical criticism over the prison wall of bourgeois discourse. Martin Scorsese's Western true crime thriller Killers of the Flower Moon is about America's Osage murders of the early 1920s, based on the non-fiction bestseller by David Grann. With co-writer Eric Roth, Scorsese crafts an epic of creeping existential horror about the birth of the American century, a macabre tale of quasi-genocidal serial killings which mimic the larger erasure of Native Americans from the United States, and places in the drama's foreground a gaslit marriage of lies and poisoned love. It's a film which echoes Scorsese's earlier work about mob violence, mob loyalty, and the final, inevitable sellout to the federal authorities whose own bad faith gradually emerges. But in the end, this film is about what all Westerns are about, and perhaps all history, the brutal grab for land, resources, and power.
Why did you come here?
I work with my uncle.
You scared of him?
Oh, he's the nicest man in the world.
The Osage, their time is over. We got to take back control of our home.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
We have so many deaths, we've lost count.
It's just bad luck.
Seems more like an epidemic than bad luck to me.
Osage is dying by the enemy. Do not let them die alone.
Evil surrounds my heart.
Lily Gladstone gives a performance of tragic force as Molly Burkhart, a Native American woman from the Osage tribe who, like all her people, has become unexpectedly wealthy because the apparently stony and unpromising soil in Oklahoma, on which the authorities allowed the Osage to settle, has turned out to have huge reserves of oil. But they are still subject to a racist and infantilizing legal condition of guardianship to claim the income and spend it. Osage individuals largely need to have a white guardian co-signatory. And there is something else. Molly and her family are now deeply disturbed by mysterious illnesses which have been killing off Osage people one by one. And later the bodies of Osage murder victims are to be found, including Molly's wayward sister Anna, played by Cara Jade Myers, whose autopsy is bizarrely carried out in the open air, on the crime scene itself. Into this situation has arrived a slippery, venal young man called Ernest, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who shows us an ambitious but also submissive and fundamentally inadequate man, greedy, stupid, and biddable. He has returned to the US after service in World War I and comes to the vast estate of his wealthy uncle, who's offered him a job. This cattleman plutocrat is William Hale, played by Robert De Niro, a man of calcified resentment and self-importance, who patronizingly preens himself on his good relations with the Osage people. Hale interviews Ernest for a position as his vague underling and dirty work factotum, and encourages him to date and also marry Molly, whom Ernest has already met, which would give him, and therefore Hale, a legal claim on Molly's oil entitlements. And so Ernest and Molly's doomed marriage commences, complicated by the terrible fears of Molly's ailing mother, Lizzie Q, played by Tantu Cardinal, who has a quietly beautiful death scene, and by Molly's diabetes, which is made strangely worse by the medicine Hale has procured for her, and which Ernest administers via injection, while always simpering and blubbering his concern for her declining health. When the situation becomes too bad for the federal authorities to ignore, Washington, D.C. sends an officer of its fledgling Bureau of Investigations, later to be the FBI, Tom White, played by Jesse Plemons. But Scorsese shows us the politics. The Bureau's belated appearance appears to be at least partly a matter of containing a difficult situation involving whites and the inescapably wealthy Osage peoples, and reinforcing federal control over the new state of Oklahoma. As performed by Gladstone and DiCaprio, the relationship between Molly and Ernest has a kind of spiritual nausea. Ernest is sincere about his feelings for his wife, in his way, but they are part of a context of bad faith and violence. His real relationship is, of course, with his uncle, the beta to the older man's alpha. Weirdly, DiCaprio starts to look like De Niro, like a dog resembling its master, a younger, victim-villain version of the same gimlet-eyed fear and hostility, and the same rat-trap mouth with the corners turned down. His Uncle William has inducted him into the Masons, and it is into the local Masonic hall with all its regalia that Hale leads the wretched Ernest for a corporal punishment scene when the young man lets him down. The most extraordinary corporal punishment scene I've seen since Lindsay Anderson's If. William Hale's rule, so avowedly caring and sensitive to the Osage, is creating a vast dysfunction of depression, alcoholism, lawlessness, and of course fatal illness and murder. Lily Gladstone creates a persona for Molly which is flawed and self-reproachful, with some shame at having collaborated with her persecutor. She has dignity and calm and rises above the squalor all around her, but that calm is also the stricken immobility of illness, and she also knows that Ernest was never any good, but she was charmed and seduced by him all the same. Scorsese presents a remarkable story with the audacious framing device of a briskly insensitive true crime radio show featuring Osage characters crassly played by white actors. This is an utterly absorbing film, a story which Scorsese sees as the secret history of American power, a hidden violence epidemic polluting the water table of humanity. That's it. Please give this vlog a like and a share on your socials. Please subscribe and leave a comment if you haven't already done so. And also, please, again, if you haven't already done so, please buy my book, The Films That Made Me, an edited selection of my essays and reviews for The Guardian. See you next time.